Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Today's guest is SamanthaDeCosta. She is here today to talk about her weight loss journey and a book she is publishing. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you're here to talk about weight loss.
Yes.
And well, let's. So what was this journey like for you? I assume that you weren't probably happy with what you were seeing in the mirror. Or?
I started out at 280 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Just about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in March that I've had the surgery.
Right.
And I was having some health issues, so that's what made the insurance pay for it.
Right.
And I wanted to better my life for my kids and for my husband. And I wanted to do it for myself also.
Right. So you ended up, you were telling me you had what's the surgery called?
It's called a gastric sleeve.
Right.
They took about 80% of my stomach out and made it shaped like a banana.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only eat little bits at a time every couple of hours.
Right. Is that for life, or is there a point where you?
It's pretty much for life. As long as you keep to the diet and you eat the way you're supposed to, the weight will stay off. Otherwise, if you continue to eat the way you have been prior to surgery, it will stretch your stomach back out and you'll gain all the weight back.
So I've heard a little bit about these surgeries. The doctors don't take them lightly, do they? You have to. So
yeah.
What's the procedure that
I had about 6 months of doctor's appointments going back and forth from Barton to Dartmouth, going to classes, dietary classes, and I had to meet with a dietitian. I also, towards the end of all my appointments, I had to go see a psychiatrist and be passed through them that I was mentally ready for the surgery.
Right.
And at the end of it, I had to also go to the doctors for a physical exam before the surgery to make sure that I was okay to have it.
Right. Was this a big decision? Because my speculation is you probably tried to do it on your own at first.
I've tried to diet any way possible. I've done liquid diets. I did the OMAD diets, which is 1 meal a day, which isn't healthy. I don't suggest that to people.
Right.
And I've tried all kinds of other diet plans and stuff like that, and I couldn't keep up with it, or it didn't work for me, or also my body didn't like it.
I suspect your story is probably like a lot of people. You probably lost 25, 30 pounds.
Yep.
And then you gained 35, 40 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah, that's usually the course. Because with me, I know my weaknesses. For certain foods. So what I do is I end up, because I'm not real overweight, what I will do is I just pick up the amount of exercise and lower my food intake. But not everybody, like I used to say, I was telling you before the show, back in my younger days, I used to tell my wife, she didn't really care to hear this, but it was true and it was kind of a joke, is back in my younger days, all I needed to do was think about losing weight.
Yep.
And, youthful metabolism.
Yep.
Just like, oh, okay, I want to lose weight. Bang, lose weight.
Yep.
I'm eating my words now.
Yep.
I put on a little bit of weight, and boy, I wished I had the metabolism of my youth.
Yes. And that's one reason why I did the surgery in my 30s now, is because I know when I get older, it's going to be much tougher to get the weight off.
Right.
And I've also picked up exercising. I walk every day up a hill in Barton. It's called Duck Pond Road. And I walk 1.3 miles up and 1.3 miles back down.
Right. So did you have a defining moment where you said, this can't continue, I need to do something?
Yes. I woke up one day, I remember this, and I just did not feel good at all. And I knew something was wrong or whatever, and I knew my weight had a lot to do with it. And I also suffer from the IBS syndrome or whatever. And I was sick, and then I went to the doctors and found out that I had a fatty liver, and that was what was causing a lot of my problems. And a fatty liver is also part of being obese.
Right.
So when you lose all the weight and you continue a good diet, the fatty liver will go away eventually. And you have to keep an eye on it too, so it doesn't come back.
Right.
But for the most part, when the weight's off, it goes away forever.
So put a little perspective to it. When did you have your surgery?
It will be 2 years, I believe, March 27th, I think.
And how much, like, I've seen some people who had it that the weight loss just was insanely fast, where you questioned how you could do that healthy. How did your weight loss go?
At first, the first 90 pounds came off pretty quickly.
Right.
It was just in time for my wedding. That was my goal, to be 90 pounds less by my wedding day. And after that, I had to work hard to get the rest off. And then I got down to my goal weight last July, down to 145.
Right. Yeah. The one thing I can't totally understand is, so is it only, all right, does the procedure just make it so you don't eat as much, or does it, like, how come you do lose weight so quick? Is it just because you're not eating as much and you're eating better? Is that the way it works, or is there some other thing that comes into play?
For the most part, it makes it so you can't eat as much.
Right.
But the doctors, obviously, they train you before you have the surgery of what foods to eat.
Right.
And what will help you lose the weight faster, healthier, and easy things to do or whatever, because after surgery, you don't have the energy to cook all the time or whatever. So they try to think of ideas for you, and they give you this little mini cookbook or whatever of easy things to do.
Right.
And I started doing that, and it was easier for me. And then I continued, and I got down to my goal weight, like I said, last July.
How did that feel?
Amazing. When I stepped on the scale, I cried.
So what can you do now that you couldn't do back then?
I can run around with my kids. I could probably get back on a horse if I wanted to go horseback riding.
Right.
Not fearing of hurting the horse.
Right.
Because that was my biggest fear. There's so many things. I can walk without wheezing. I can go upstairs without feeling like I'm going to pass out.
Right. So when you're out and about and you haven't seen somebody for a long time, do they have to do a double take?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Sometimes people don't recognize me right off until I say something, I speak, and obviously they recognize my voice.
Yeah. And what's their first reaction then? Like, are they shocked?
They're shocked. Some people swear. I'm not going to say anything right now. But all I get is positive feedback.
Yeah.
So many.
So what's your message to people, who are way overweight and they've tried everything? Is this something that you might want to explore with your doctor?
Yes, absolutely. My thing is, don't be hesitant. Ask your doctor. Ask them as many questions. YouTube it. Get as much information as possible before you make the jump.
Right.
Make sure this is for you, and you also have to have the mindset. I know doctors tell you that you can have everything that you normally have now after surgery. It's not recommended, but you can. My thing is, I was addicted to pasta. That was my go-to. I think of that as drugs.
Right.
You don't put a smaller portion of drugs in front of a drug addict because they'll continue to do it, and they'll become a problem again.
Right.
So I got rid of all the pasta, all the bread, all the rice, all the potatoes out of my diet because that was what I was addicted to.
And probably out of your house.
Yes.
It's like, for example, I understand where you're coming from because I am a junk food junkie.
Yep.
And I never buy, like, if I'm out, if Kelby, the producer of this show, had a chocolate on her desk, I would take a piece. But the thing is, if Kelby gave me a bag of chocolates to bring home with me, they'd be gone.
Yep.
I cannot have, it's, I just, like, I look at other people who can actually have junk food in their house.
Yes.
And do it in moderation. I'm like full bore junkie.
Yep. And like some people can, and I envy them or whatever, but for most people that have the surgery,
Yeah.
they have a food addiction.
Yeah.
So you need to remove all your trigger foods
Yeah.
in order to...
I think of one guy, though. I don't know how often this happened. I think of one guy who lost all kinds of weight. And apparently the eating good part he never took in because, by the time he died, he was a very big man again.
Yep.
How do you know the statistics, or have you ever heard how?
I'm not sure exactly.
No? Okay, that's fine. So it sounds like you're dedicated to this
Yes.
lifestyle. So let's go on. You've done a book.
Yes.
And do you have a title for your book?
Yes, I do actually. It is called, hold on 1 minute. There we go. It's called Cooking After Bariatric Surgery.
Right. And how did this come about?
I started making my own meals, and I had to start cooking differently because after the surgery, it doesn't happen to everybody, but I became lactose intolerant.
Right.
And I couldn't eat pork. So I had to try to figure out ways to eat
Right.
without that stuff. So I started making different things and found recipes to follow. And then I was like, you know what? I want to start my own cookbook to help other people that have had the surgery.
Right.
So that's what...
So what are your is your family supportive of you during the whole?
Yes.
So do you cook, like, if you're cooking out of this book, do you cook that for everybody, or do you do different meals?
My kids, they just eat pretty much mac and cheese.
Yeah.
My husband, once in a while, will eat what I eat,
Right.
but for the most part, it's just for me.
So what's your favorite recipe? Or is that possible?
There's so many, but one of them that hits big in the house that everybody likes when they do eat it are the zucchini boats.
Right.
Those are very, very healthy and very, very good, and actually they're really spicy.
Right.
So if you don't like spicy food, I would suggest maybe not using buffalo sauce or hot sauce for it,
Right.
that the recipe calls for. But yeah.
And you use turkey burger in place.
Yes.
So does that mean, do you eat mostly turkey burger versus hamburger?
Yes, hamburger upsets my stomach,
Right.
unfortunately. Some people can still eat it, but I haven't been able to eat it for years, even before the surgery.
So the it sounds like the surgery also changes what you can eat, though.
Yep.
And is it a good trade-off, though?
For me it was.
Right.
Some people, I guess, have gotten really sick from foods and stuff, and it makes it really hard, so they have to go on these shakes or also get fed through a tube or whatever for nutrition. But I was thankful that that didn't happen to me, and I'm doing this.
Right. So tell me, can you just read off some of the recipes that you have in your book?
Sure. Well, I'll go ahead with the zucchini boats since they're always a hit when I make them. You would take 3 zucchinis, hollow them out, take out the seeds, and then you would prepare your turkey burger by putting some mushrooms in a frying pan and onions and ground turkey, sea salt, pepper, and Creole seasoning, and fry that up for a couple of minutes, and then drain the grease, and then you would put it in a bowl, mix it with some dairy-free yogurt and buffalo sauce, and then you would put that mixture inside the zucchinis and then put in your oven and bake for about 45 minutes.
Right. Now, that seems very familiar to me in the sense of it's very similar to what my wife and I used to eat. We used to call it stuffed zucchini, kind of like stuffed peppers, except for there was one thing in it that I think you try to steer clear of. We had rice in ours.
Yes.
And do you still try to steer clear of pastas now?
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have another favorite one?
Let's see. There's so many. There's a tuna nuggets recipe.
Right.
Instead of chicken nuggets, is tuna. And all you do is use 1 can of tuna, 1 cup of shredded dairy-free cheese, and 1 egg. You mix that up. And then you would scoop it out and make it into a ball.
Right.
And put it on a greased cookie sheet and throw it in the oven at 325 degrees for about 25 minutes and let it cool, and then you can enjoy.
Right. Has your book or your you learning about different diets and making this book, has it helped you a lot during this journey?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Now, how can somebody get a copy of your book?
They can get in touch with me on Facebook under SamanthaDeCosta, or on Instagram, TikTok, any of those, and also you can just contact me through my phone.
And what's your phone number?
802-323-3335.
Right. Yeah. How many? Are there a lot of? Do you know of many people in this area? Do you have a group that is made up of people? There's a support group for about everything.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
No, I don't have one here. I could have joined one in Dartmouth, but that's just too far away to travel all the time for meetings and stuff like that. But I do have a couple of friends that have also had the surgery, and one of my friends lives in Virginia, and he had it literally a week before I did.
Right.
So we have been surgery buddies pretty much. We've been talking back and forth.
Right.
And what he can do, what I can't, and what he can eat and what I can't and stuff. And it's been really easy to bounce things off. Like if we have questions or concerns, one of us will know the answer.
You're actually the second person on the show that have talked about this topic. Years ago, there was another local woman who came on to talk about her journey, and so this isn't something when you go into this isn't something that you say, okay, I'm getting this surgery, and then I'm just going to live my life the exact same way. You have to be committed still, so it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And what is one of my biggest gripes is people say that you took the easy way out.
Right.
This is not easy.
Right.
You suffer from stomach aches quite often, especially if you eat too much. You get what's called dumping syndrome.
Right.
And you can get very sick very quickly. And in the beginning, it is really tough because you're not eating a lot, so you're exhausted. All you want to do is sleep or whatever. And sometimes when you get up to do something, you get winded because you're not eating enough, so your body blood pressure is low.
Right. So, so not to, people know this is serious, but what other things, we talk about the negative,
Yep.
but besides being on a run with your kids and do that, what else can you do?
I can clean the house and feel as if it's easy for me.
Right.
It's not an all-day project. I can get it done within a couple of hours.
Right.
I can fit into cute clothes again, and I don't know. There's just everything about life has changed.
Right. You have a renewed spring in your step.
Yes.
Did you what did it do to your mental health when you were not happy with who you were?
I suffered some depression.
Right.
I used to sleep all the time and not wanting to do anything. Now I have more energy.
Right.
I get up in the morning and want to do things during the day.
It was probably almost self-fulfilling for you, isn't like you didn't feel like doing anything because you had a weight issue.
Yeah.
So you had a weight issue, and you didn't feel like doing anything, thus you didn't exercise, thus you
Nope.
probably ate more.
Yep.
And it became self-fulfilling.
Yes.
All right, we only have about 3 more minutes left.
Okay.
What more would you like to...
My thing is, if you want to do the surgery and people are telling you not to do it, that's not going to work, don't listen to them. Do what makes you feel right, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Right.
And always just to be happy with your decision.
Right. So if somebody were, to start the dialogue with their doctor today, from at this point, how long would somebody expect if they were a good candidate to actually be undergoing the surgery?
It will take about 8 months. It took a little over a year for me because I was doing it all through when COVID hit.
Right.
So things got postponed, things had to be on Zoom, so it took a lot longer.
Right. Okay, so again, how can somebody order your book, or at least find out or contact you to talk about this procedure?
They can call me or text me on my phone.
And the number is?
802-323-3335.
Right. And you also can be found on?
Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
So you're everywhere.
Yes.
Do you have a TikTok video?
On my phone, which is in the car.
Okay. All right. I swear I'm the only one who's never been on TikTok. True story. I use technology for everything, but I only know a certain amount of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, because no. So what's your future? What do you see in the future for yourself?
I just want to be able to help as many people as possible.
Right.
And live in my life happy and healthy.
Right. Okay. Well, congratulations on your weight loss journey, and even as important or more important, thank you for trying to help other people, because we're a society that likes our food, and we like it a little bit too much. And the thing is, food is everywhere.
Yes.
Good food is everywhere.
Yep.
And, it's, as I said, I know my shortcomings, and so you will not, if you gave me a bag of peppermint patties, I'd say, now just give me one, because half of that bag of peppermint patties would be gone by the time I got home. So I know to steer clear of junk food, and that's the way I do it. But, okay. Well, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.